like pools and inflatable.
Okay, we're recording.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. This should probably be a quick meeting today. Just to get us caught up. Sort of September's our research month. So it's really the next 2 months, October and November, where we have to put everything together. So hopefully we'll just do this quick. And again, I apologize I'm not there, but you'll thank me for not being there. Not feeling too well, so got the crud. But so first, I did send out an agenda quickly this morning. If there was anything anybody needed to add, we can do that now. If we're okay with it, we can move forward. Okay, see nothing. Did everyone get the minutes from the last meeting?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Were there any changes or things that needed to be added or corrections?
No.
Bill, did you?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do I have a motion to, John, you weren't there at the last meeting, so I won't ask you. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion.
Okay. Somebody want to second that? It's a very small group. Everyone gets to participate today. All right, and then all in favor? Aye. And one sustain. Okay. So we'll send this recording to Jean and hopefully she'll, or maybe Jim can help her out with some minutes, but all right. So basically what we're going to just talk about quickly is where we're at with some observations and just make sure that we're still on track to do some research things here, and then that should be it. So Martha, I think you had mentioned that you went to the transfer station.
I did go. It was a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
It was on the August 24th.
August 24th. Okay.
And most of the people there used curbside, and the reason for using the transfer station included theirs, extra items because they were cleaning out, or things that they take at the transfer station, like brush. There was a woman that came multiple times with garden waste. And one was a summer only resident, so it's just more convenient for her to use the transfer station. Some said it's hot in the summer and they don't like their trash, getting hot and sitting around, so they go for that reason as well. A lot of people said what they liked the best were the people at the transfer station and that they're very helpful and it's quick and easy and convenient. There were a number of dogs that got treats. And then most of them said what they liked least was nothing. They didn't have any complaints or suggestions. Some wanted more weekday hours. Some said, well, a lot of people said they missed the free pile. Probably a third to a half of the people said they missed the free pile. Some wish the brush would be extended a little bit longer into October. They said that area's closed down.
We close November 1st and we open on May 1st. So
Okay.
it is open till November. We have opened it in November a couple of times, like if there's a big storm or something.
Okay.
But typically we have to swap the barricades and stuff that make the bins
Yeah.
so we can do snow. So we
Okay.
like to have those done, and we do give people alternate. They can take them to Hammonds or Lebanon, for
Okay.
it's not as convenient, obviously.
So maybe they don't know that. One person was interesting. It was an older gentleman and he mixed everything together. He said, I heard we pay twice as much to get rid of recycling as we do for trash. And I said, oh, that's news to me. So apparently there's still some misinformation out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit more for recycling at the moment, but they fluctuate.
And so he decided not to recycle because it costs more.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not the case.
Yeah, and maybe he might hear tipping fees from waste that's hauled from the transfer station and
Yeah.
getting that confused with. or-
Yeah,
or the
and the other
transporting.
line I like to use on folks like that is, it's also cheaper to, flush your toilet into the river, but we don't do that anymore either.
Yeah, yeah. I needed some good comeback.
Yeah.
for that. I didn't want to upset too many people,
Yeah.
but they were all, Jean had already interviewed 4 of the people, so I skipped them. I missed 8. And I skipped some at the end because they all rush in when the gates are closed. There were 4 people when one of the gates was closed right at the end, and they just kind of squeeze right in there. And so that's still a problem. And I've seen that before. But overall, most of the people were very complimentary for how it's run, the services that are offered, and just its overall convenience. So it went very well. I saw the guys do there were a lot of elderly people that came and they helped to unload. Some people couldn't get out of their cars, because of mobility issues, and they helped multiple people, which was really nice to see. And I just don't think that they can handle the bins. A lot of people said their driveway was too long or the bins were too big and heavy. And so they like the guys there.
Yeah.
And that's why they use the transfer station.
That's too nice.
That's what,
Yeah.
except where it concerns the free pile.
Yes.
Free.
I gotta get that in.
It's too bad that, the free pile, it's a great idea, but unfortunately, it just becomes,
I get it.
it's just a nightmare. And, I wish we could do that, maybe like on listserv or something, where if people had things that were of value, they could just post them and people could go, oh yeah, I need
Like a curb alert.
an old lawnmower to fix up and run or something like that, but.
I have noticed more piles out on the roadside for people that probably did put stuff
Mm,
outside at the transfer station, and, the piles slowly get smaller.
mhm.
So I have noticed more of that happening in Enfield.
Yeah, there has been a lot of free piles. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's,
Yeah, there was someone with a free pile and I went and looked at it and it was all trash. And so I was mad and I wrote on their sign, this is not free, this is your trash. There was like 3 mugs that all had broken handles, bald tires, like a manual for like Microsoft 2000. It was just like, this is trash. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants this. This is your trash. And it's
That's
just
right.
sitting on the curb.
We see so many of those things in the free pile that just,
And like,
people
and I
don't want
just,
to pay to get rid of it, so.
I'm gonna walk around with a marker and write on their little cardboard sign, like, this is not, like, this is literally just your trash.
No
So,
value.
Yeah. So unfortunately that is what will be really helpful. Thank you, first of all, Martha, that's awesome. Let's make note of those that, what's really valuable about the being at the transfer station and putting in these couple of hours is not just people answering the questions, but those observations that you just made, that somebody with mobility issues, and noticing that, and that like, this is a valuable service. That's not a question that we've asked, but that's something that you've observed, right? And we want to make sure that we get that we capture those kinds of things, because people always think of value in intrinsic manners, right? Or monetary. And those are sort of those intrinsic and intangible types of things that don't often get measured or seen, but really make a huge difference, right? Somebody can't handle a large bin. My mom is shrinking and like the bins are bigger than her now, like she still wrestles them out there, but if they're too heavy, she can't. And so I think that those kinds of things get lost. And where somebody, you've mentioned that you don't create that much trash. And so having a big, huge bin feels, silly, for the amount of land use waste that you generate. So let's make sure that we're going to capture this, because that's what's going to be really important in the narrative of our report out. Okay. So thank you very much. I know I was there this last weekend very briefly, because I had something that could not stay in my my waste bin until this week. So there was a coyote attack on my property, and my dog got some of the remains of one of the little deer victim, and that was just had to go. So double bagged. So I didn't, but anyways. John, are you going to be able to, have you managed to get to the transfer station? Or are you going to be able to pull a shift there at like a 2-hour time at some
Yes,
point?
I
I know
haven't,
you're, no,
yeah, I haven't yet, but,
okay,
I do plan on it.
cool.
Yeah.
I haven't either. So I also have intentions. So over the course of September, and if anyone can do another one, at least I know Jean went, I think once on each. She went 3 times. She
Yeah.
found it really fascinating. But if we can all get there at least once, and if not twice, and just 2 hours is plenty, sure. For a shift, but it gives some good insight there. Um, so let's make sure we get that done, myself included, over the course of September. So anything else? Oh, and then actually, who was it? Jim or Bill, were you saying to me you had a recommendation that we should go to see the Grantham station?
Grantham, Lebanon. They
I
have
mean, I've been to
recycling.
Lebanon. I've been to Lebanon, and that's like an operation that we're not gonna be able to match. So is Grantham something that's a little bit more? Because you and I were talking about cardboard when I was there, and like how the cardboard seems to be filling up that zero sort, which I know is when I go to the transfer station is usually it's to bring cardboard, because things come in big boxes, and
Everything
that
comes in
will.
big boxes.
Yeah, that'll take up my entire bin. So I bring that to the transfer station versus putting it in my zero sort bin. So
Yeah, they have a recycling facility it's in Goffstown for electronics.
Mhm.
And my stepson went down there and I'm gonna go down and check it out, because if we can take care of some of the electronics by just sending them down there and not have to pay to get rid of them, pay to receive them, but not have to pay to get rid of them.
Well, I would think Lebanon knows, you know, because I know that's where I bring my stuff, all my stuff for the customers.
Yeah,
And, so like TV, they do the
Yeah.
TVs and then I think they put them into those, like on a pallet. Then they fill the truck.
they charge you for them, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
20,
See, this place doesn't charge you for
well,
anything.
well, no, I mean, for me to bring them to
Yeah.
Lebanon, it's $25, I think. And
Yeah.
then I don't know where it goes from there, but I think that's what we should ask.
TV Island.
Well, I think that's what we should be asking, and the same with the cardboard, they bail their cardboard. And then, what else? ACs, refrigerators.
ACs, once you have them taking the gas off, and those go right in the metal dumpster,
Yeah.
so. Those aren't that big deal, it's electronics. Cardboard, you're not gonna do anything with unless you buy a baler, and that's not,
Yeah.
that's just an expense, cause then you gotta have a truck to store it in, or a building to store it in. So,
I, my first thoughts, that when we first started were to kind of go that route, but I can't tell you it's profitable or not,
Hmm.
but I just, I just know like some of the other transfer stations that we use is they separate the cardboard and they bale it and then they sell it. And I don't know what it is now for cost, you know, what they pay you, you know, whether it's $50 a bale or whatever it is. But that was my first thought when we were talking about the transfer station. But then, of course, yeah, you gotta add personnel and
Yeah.
real estate.
Something to haul it with.
But
Right.
I don't know, but I do wonder though if we should research it some because how much cardboard takes up. I mean, how much space and weight does cardboard take up in the can?
Mhm.
So I think that's been the mind, you know, I think that's been the other transfer stations. To me is, okay, we can, you know, it's almost like the food waste. If you're taking the food waste out of the trash, how much tonnage are you gonna lose? And the same, I guess, with the roll-offs or is how much space are you gonna, you know, are you gonna save any? And will it be profitable on the other end? I have no idea, but I think that's,
Cardboard's a weird one because it's so light, but it's so bulky where food, it's
Heavy.
really heavy.
yeah. But I think those are the things like, you know, you know, how much are you you know, how much space and weight are you saving by taking them out of the picture or taking a lot of it out of the picture? And that's why I think if we, you know, like the Grantham thing or Lebanon is, you know, what do you guys do with it? How much do you get paid? How much do you guys get paid to take it? And is it feasible? You know, is it feasible to do? And that's and I sent Jim, I didn't get a chance to print it, but I sent you the Ludlow fee schedule, you know, and they have the fees, what they charge their residents. And I know that one is, that one, it's by the bag.
Yeah.
But they make, when they get there, everybody that I've seen, they're all trained. You know, the homeowners are trained, okay. Cans go here, bottles go here, cardboard goes here. In these little slots.
Yeah.
And then they drop down, you know, just in behind, and then zero short goes here. But they're getting it pretty much so that there's minimal trash when they're done. You know, there's minimal trash at the end because they've already separated. And they do have the zero sort for every, you know, because all they're collecting is the cans that are, you know, that they can get the aluminum. They're doing the plastic bottles that,
Like soda bottles.
yeah, and that they can make money on, and then the cardboard. So the paper, I think it's the paper and the plastics that they're not that goes into the zero sort. And then the trash. And they were real sticklers on, you know, making sure you went down the row.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ludlow's not, I don't know what their population is, but it's not, I'm sure in the summertime, well, I guess in the wintertime, because they got the ski area, but so it's not a small, I mean, it's a small town, but it's not a small town. So I think those are the things to me to look at, to say, is it gonna save us any? Or is it, you know, is there a profit center to be made, you know, out of doing some of that, or does it cost, because you gotta add 3 people to the payroll and it's not gonna,
We used to sort back in the
Yeah.
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it's the weight and the space. And then also if you can make some money on the other end of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't make any money on it, well then,
Well, and I thought I've seen through, and it may not be Casella, and it might be someplace else that I lived, but like, you know, where you have cans and plastics and bottles all in one, like basically you only sort out cardboard, and I've seen dumpsters or skips that are for cardboard only, you know, and then all of your other recycling, and that's where it's like, is there a way that we could do that? So then again, it saves space in the large, in the zero, like literally everything else is zero sort, except we are sorting out the cardboard, just because it can be such a, you know, big clunky. I know it compresses down and but still, if it's I know like when the fireworks boxes weren't, and just as, we start to get, especially as we start ratcheting up towards holiday times and box cities. So I don't know, but did you end up having to close this weekend at all, Jim?
No,
No, no.
Just made it. It's good. So, all right. All right, so thank you. Let's all just keep working on that. And then if anybody wants to get to Grantham and see what they're doing and report out, that would be awesome. I may try. I'm just kind of all over the place right now. So I'd love to see some smaller things that are a little bit smaller. I feel like Lebanon is just a much bigger operation that we're not gonna, there's probably lessons to be learned from there as well. But I'm trying to look at how do we be more efficient in a small space, in a relatively small space.
I think Grantham's actually bigger than our facility because they
Is
take
it?
in the whole, yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does look kind of, I drive past it once in a while on the
And I
way to Newport.
don't believe
I have
they
no
have
idea.
curbsides.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of Eastmen in there.
Oh, but that'd be the close. No, I mean, it's
I'm
close.
not sure what Sunapee is either.
At least they're not far, they're close
Mm.
and probably in population, it's not too off on population, but yes, you're right, they don't have curbside.
Curbside, yeah.
So you gotta, the numbers would be skewed a little bit
Yeah.
because they're not but at least I just think if we go there and
Just check out their facility.
yeah, and see how the flow and what do they find? What do they find that is the best? Are they sorting out certain things because they can make a little bit over here? And I think that's, and it's probably that resource management thing or whatever. That's probably where I think I got the numbers a while ago
Yeah.
on all the recycle, the cardboard. That was through them.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that must be who a lot of them use.
They do, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them
Gather.
shoot for breaking even,
Yeah,
so it doesn't cost your taxpayers money,
Yeah.
but if you can make a little bit,
well, and I think and we've talked before about, I think because we already are providing the curbside, that the transfer station is the added, that's the added gravy for the customers. For the, so I think that's where you can charge some, and make it, and maybe, and that's why I say maybe that's where they can do, maybe the residents can do a little more work on their end if you did want them to sort certain things, because it is a privilege to go to the transfer station because we're already providing the curbside.
Yeah.
So even though if it maybe takes a little bit more time out of their day, but it's still a convenience for them to be able to go to the transfer station because they are getting curbside. So I think that's some options. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, my brain's not working very well. I was gonna try to share, but I don't think I can because it's not my team's. So I will save this. We're gonna just thank you, John, for those ideas and suggestions. And the Grantham station is open this weekend if anybody wants to go. Or we can try to arrange later on this month a field trip and have multiple people go. So I don't know, it's up to you all. We have it looks like it's open on, did I just erase? It's open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Mondays. So, one thing is instead of meeting, we could go next Thursday. Well, no, they close at 3:45. But I don't know. Uh,
Anybody know anybody there?
I have a race on Saturday, so I'll stop by on Saturday because
Okay.
it's down in Goshen.
a race.
Yeah, a trail run.
Oh, nice. So well, let's start with that, and it's an idea we could do by the end of the month for sure. All right. We're gonna keep moving. So survey results so far. I was thinking is there a way, Jim, do you know if you can let people share? Do you know how to?
I do not know how to do that. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's all right. Um, yeah, we need permission to share your screen. La 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 la.
I'm sure it's doable because I think I've been on ones that have done it, but
Yeah. So, well, like I said, we've had 291 responses so far to the online survey. I am going to send everybody the link. I'll send it via Jim. And we can and then any way that you can get it out to your friends, your family, to your circle of friends, or I just said friends, that would be great. I put it up on Facebook. I think it was on Mascoma Messenger, maybe not on Mascoma Messenger. I think I left it like Enfield Neighbors or something like that. Yeah, I only did things that were Enfield. Elisa put it up on the listserv, but I'm hoping that we put it up like every week, sort of like, hey, a reminder, it did come through. It's on the front page of, or the homepage of the town website. So the more people we can get to driving there would be great. So, and just right now it's looking like in general, 85% use curbside trash pickup. I also, out of the people that answered, we do have, oh my gosh, why did the responses, there we go. Of the people that answered, 80% also say that they've used the transfer station. Most people, about 15% of those that have answered do not use curbside. And then out of the people that do use curbside, so far 77% have not had an issue. So, it's and then the issues is like, we've got a few that they've listed off a few things, but most of the time, it's just the barrels have not been put back down on the street, right? So it'll be really interesting to start to sort through all of that information, but I don't want to sit here and just read off things you can't see, because that's no fun. So let's just work on getting more people to respond. I'd love to get 500 responses. I wanted 500 for the master plan, and everyone laughed at me, but we're already at like 300. So we're already halfway there. So let's aim to get 500. So if anyone can help spread the word, just post it, or it's got to be via social media and other sites, because it's all online. There's not a printed version. You're welcome to do a printed version and then go input it yourself, but I don't want a whole bunch of printed copies myself to have to sit here and input. So if we can avoid it, if we find that there's a lot of people that won't take it because it's online and we need to do a printed version, let's have that discussion. But if that's coming up amongst folks, so any other thoughts comments on that?
Nope.
Okay, so, and then I thought, and I don't have the minutes open, Pete was gonna do, I've got on the agenda organic waste options and recycling education, and I know, I have to find the minutes, that there were, Pete was gonna be doing some research, and Martha, you were gonna be doing some research too, correct, on something?
Yes, I have a little star here and I did not do that yet. So I'll
Okay.
double underline it.
Okay. And what was yours without me having to like pull up the minutes? My,
For me,
Yeah.
it looks like I have education here, like trash and recycling. I don't know.
okay, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so one of those pieces is, does it cost more? And part of that's, it might fluctuates, because I did hear that, I had a select board member tell me it costs us more to recycle than to throw away trash, and I was like, you know,
Oh, it's more man hours to recycle than it is to just dump your trash off the landfill.
does it cost us more, and it costs us more in tonnage? For them to come and
Does.
take recycling? Is
No,
that
it doesn't.
amazing?
What was the question again?
Tipping
Tipping
fees.
fee for
Tipping
recycling
fees.
compared to
Yeah,
trash.
the tipping fee for recycling is, at the moment, it's like $20 higher for the town, excluding transportation costs. Obviously from the transfer station, the transportation costs for zero sort are way higher, so it's considerably more than that. From the transfer station, but not from
Not
curbside.
from the curb, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're coming. Or they come the following day to empty it. Or take the,
Yeah, they come to service the zero sort every other week.
Uh-huh.
And so the pull for that's like $230. And there's typically, 2 to 4 tons on that load.
mhm,
So you can see it,
yeah,
it adds like $80 a ton to the cost.
Um, has it been explored, like having our own truck to avoid transportation costs? Like, you know what I mean? Like for those
It
large, like
has,
the
and so
electronic skip.
Yeah, well, the people that come to pick that up come in, smaller rigs. They're not,
Mhm.
big trucks. If we were gonna haul trash or recycling, we'd have to have it'd be another fleet truck, a big truck. And I think our total transportation outlay last year was somewhere around just under 20,000. And I don't believe I can buy, operate and staff a truck for that for a year.
Mhm. Right. Okay. But what about like a 5-year or like a life of a truck outlook? Would it make more sense? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you're looking at probably 200,000 to buy the truck, and then I don't know how much it is per year, and then you got to have a guy available, or one of our guys is taking away from another job to run it, and that's what a lot of towns do. So the real cost of the transfer station in Canaan often is buried in the highway budget because one of their guys jumps in a truck and drives to Maine or drives to Lebanon or drives to Bethlehem to dump the truck. And so, that shows up on the highway budget, but he's, spending a day a week, hauling trash. And so it's not really accounted for, I think properly. And, you know, I've got an open position right now and it's very hard to hire commercial driver's license people. And keep them and to keep them because, you know, if you guys, outfits that are doing construction and whatnot, they're paying drivers, you know, $32 to $35 an hour to drive a dump truck. And, you know, that's $8 to $10 more per hour than they're gonna make working for the town of Enfield when they start.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, and then the reason I'm asking is like these are things that come up in conversations that, you know, of everybody who knows more and they have all the solutions, right?
Yeah.
And that's
You gotta
they're,
do
they're
is buy
interest
a truck.
they're interesting ideas. They're always
Well,
interesting
the
ideas. I
last
want to
truck we
be
ordered, it took 2 years to arrive. So, I mean,
yeah,
you know, that's the world that I live in at the moment, unfortunately.
sure, sure. I also just like to extrapolate it out and say, here's the full cost, or you might not see it in this town's budget because it's buried in highway, or it's, you know, there's the cost of the truck, which is 200,000, you know, so say it lasts for 10 years. Okay, that equals, you know, the 20K, but what's not accounted for is the time, you know, the personnel, keeping that
Mm.
person. You can't just hire them for this job, you know, to drive
Right.
once a week. So that's where I just want to get those full pictures because
Yeah.
those are the, I think like, you know, the world is full of ideas, and
Yes.
everybody knows. But how do we put this together in this way to say, like, yep, that's a potential solution, but here's what that would really look like.
Mhm.
And and you know, it is a feasible solution. It's one that we could explore. This is what it really looks like, and this is what it means, and it may be a difficult one to keep staffed, to keep go, you know, et
Mhm.
cetera, especially. So that's why I'm asking and trying to figure out how we get all this information in one spot so that
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just it's there, it's accessible. So when people, and I mean people, I mean town administrators, budget committees, and then, you know, the general citizen can find and access it and, you know, have some of these questions answered and making sure that we've done our due diligence. So, um, without having to knock on your door every day and say, "Hey, Jim, have you thought about this?"
I think
So,
we can, but I think we can, like, I don't know how Grantham transports there, but we'll find
Their
out.
own truck.
Also that,
Yeah, they have their own truck.
also it'd be good to ask,
Yeah.
you know, the tough questions to them. And then I know like the one I was talking about in Ludlow, Casella
Yes,
hauls there.
right. Yeah,
They do all the legwork, but they're
they're not hauling.
not hauling. It's their can, you know, it's Casella's cans,
Mhm.
it's their truck, you know, their Casella's trucks. So that gives you, you know, both options to ask.
I think Grantham pours a lot more money into their transfer than what Enfield's ever gonna put into their transfer.
Yeah.
Cause they have their own backhoe, they have their own pusher for their loader,
Or they got 3 or 4 FTE,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and you know, and to me, you know, I said it earlier, but I think it goes to show, you know, I go back to where we have curbside and we have this
Mhm.
benefit of the transfer station where, to me, if we need to make more money, then we need to adjust
Mm.
the scale for them to charge, you know, the charges need to be, you know, so then if you do need to have a loader or what, you know, whatever you guys have to have, that it can be paid, you know, some of it out of
Yes,
money coming in from the transfer station
exactly, yeah.
to pay for that stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing that, you know, maybe that's how Grantham, maybe that's how they're doing it.
That could be.
You know, so I just think it's one of them where, you know, how much, you know, what do you charge for, you know, a bag? or the TV or,
Right.
you know, and if that means it's gotta be $35 instead of 25. Because to me, it's the you know, that's the convenience of the
That'll put
transfer
people
station.
over the edge.
Well, well, a little, but we do, to me, you have the backup, and the backup is or not, you know, the main one is the curbside.
Yeah.
But I think you still have, you know, if they can't make it with their tote because of health or because of whatever, you can make exceptions for those things and say, okay, you know, you don't have to charge them at the transfer station if there's circumstances like that.
So the only problem that I see with helping people, which I don't mind helping people, but as you age, you have different medical conditions. And all it's gonna take is a syringe that's gonna poke through that bag. And somebody's gonna get it through their hand.
Yeah. Oh,
So we're very particular of who we help.
yeah, and you gotta, and those are always,
I've actually found syringes at the front of the dumpster when they've dropped a dumpster off before, so.
Yeah.
They're in there.
oh, yeah. Oh, everything's up there. So that's,
Right,
Yeah.
and that's I was talking with Emily Curtis from the police station and EMT about, again, education on and how do we get people to properly recycle sharps, you know, and things like that. So there's a lot to this, and it's I guess my wonder is like, is also this part of like a 5 or 10 year plan to, you know, instead of thinking about like what do we do at this moment, is a long-term goal. And Jim, this is kind of a question for you because this is your department, like to get to a point where we're having our own truck, or is it like is Grantham and one of these other stations a little bit you know, more of the goal for how what they're doing, you know, for Enfield as well. Now, some of them might not be doing curbside, so we have a, you know, that as a bonus. It's very popular. It's not something that we should get rid of, but also I want, you know, how do we improve and invest in the transfer station and the program overall, so that we've got great working conditions. We are doing the you know, that we're on I don't know, cutting edge is the right word, but at least we're thinking in the, you know, with the future in mind, of recycling, of getting, you know, trying to subvert things from our landfill, and what's that 5 or 10 year plan, and is some of it like, you know, one of the goals would be to have a truck or have a facility that's a little bit less reliant upon of outside company. If that's one of those goals, we, you know, how do we build towards that too? You know, because getting a truck means you got to get in the CIP, you know, and that's a long-term plan. So, because I would like to see Enfield invest in our waste management. You know, we just invested in fixing up our town offices, or at least part of it. Obviously, not all the offices for everybody that works in town. We've invested in our police and fire and EMT departments. We should be investing now in our DPW and you know, part of that is our waste management departments. And so, what does that look like for the, you know, over the course of the next 10 years, and how do we get there? And some of that's, yeah, do we need to charge per bag and just start to bring in more revenue, you know? But also education. So people are being more aware of like that it really matters, or how to do stuff. Providing great service. Like, what does that mean, you know? Mm. Thoughts?
at least we know from you guys going to the transfer station that, you guys are doing a good job. So.
Hmm?
That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten positive reviews both times. And I really, next time, I will, I'll be there in person, or I'll find a way to make sure that we share some of these survey results, because they're quite interesting. And I think if we can work on getting a couple hundred more, that'll give us a good snapshot of things that we can really sort out and see. So, um, Jim, do you know somebody in Grantham or in Ludlow or any of these other places?
I do
Do you know?
not.
You don't? Okay.
I spoke, maybe a year ago with a guy who was on a Grantham Solid Waste Committee. They were
Uh-huh.
doing the same thing that we're doing right now. And, he was curious as to our program, so I provided them a lot of information, but I can't remember what the guy's name was. But he did not work at the transfer stations.
Okay. So that's interesting. So that they did this same thing. I wonder what they found and what they were. I think part of this month we really should try to get some information from the surrounding um communities and other places, and so to bring that in, and that's going to take a concerted effort of probably going there. So if anyone is interested in taking that on, I say jump to it. I will try. I'm trying to juggle 3 jobs right now, and obviously I'm sick, so today, so I'm not volunteering for anything. Um, but I may try to see if I can't find a name and invite somebody to a meeting. Like all of those are possibilities, if we can get someone in that we can chat with all in person, that would be great. So I don't know. John, if you're interested in reaching out to anybody,
Yeah, I'll see what I can, I'll see what I can find out, whether they can come here or we can go there and
okay,
have a talk down there.
that'd be awesome.
And before I forget it, I just want to throw to everybody to think about too. Um, I know a couple years ago, Canaan was having problems with their transfer station. And back then I thought too, and I don't know if anybody's gonna run that through your head, but is there any value in combining both towns to one location?
I think if the town was interested in eliminating the curbside, yes. Because we would need to find a site that was
Yeah.
big enough, and if you're gonna do that, to service 4,000 people or 9,000 people, the transfer station doesn't look all that different. And so that's the thing. Unfortunately with Canaan, we've tried to coexist or share recreation services and that
Yes.
kind of stuff, but I don't want to say it in an open meeting, but it's challenging the relationship.
Yeah.
Just because of the difference
Yeah, it would be,
in ways of doing things or whatever. I don't know how to phrase it.
yeah, and it would have to be obviously it'd have to be everybody gets along and, but I think that, cause I just thought of it that, back then, cause they were having their issues and it's
Right.
like, all right, well, and I was under the mindset then as to me, it wasn't like you said, by adding more customers per se, I didn't see it being a huge, it's
Yeah,
not like
when-
the difference between.
There's a scale and there's
Yeah,
a level, and if once you get to that level, you can go for a while and add to it without having
Yeah.
to upgrade that.
if you had enough real estate.
If you had the real estate, if you
Yeah.
invested in the equipment
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then, again, it wouldn't matter as you increase the numbers. It'd take a while to get to the point where you'd have to get to the next level
Yeah.
and buy more stuff or have more room or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it'd be a long shot, but I just see it as, we're spending, our money for our piece, and they're spending their money for their piece. So it's just kind of like, how do you?
That's right. I mean, we've cooperated with them.
Yeah.
With the school forever. but-
Yeah.
But, the other things have been a little less.
Yeah. But I mean,
Successful. I guess.
So they probably have their I don't know if it's 3 or 4 people that work there,
Mhm.
you know, so it's, you know, they've got the compactors, you've got your compactors, there's, you know, a lot of the
That's right.
same stuff.
Same
So
stuff, yeah.
I think it's something for everybody to at least think about anyway, just to think.
I mean, yeah,
Food for thought.
regional partnerships should be explored on all levels of town government, you know, the fire and. You know, I spoke with a guy that was in a county out, I think it was in Virginia or someplace. And he said, wow, you know, 40,000 people. If you overlay 40,000 people and fire apparatus in New England versus out there. It's like, there's like 4 times the equipment that's purchased in New England. The same population as there is down
Yeah.
there, you know, for a whole county of 40,000.
Yeah, and I think they're mostly county.
Their county, that's right. So it's a
Right.
different
Yeah.
level.
The New Hampshire town-based system.
That's right.
You know, it's everybody's got their own. I came from an area that was county-based, although I lived in a city that was separated by it, but or everything was county-based, you know, and it's much more shared resources. So but all right, anything else that's burning that's come up that you're thinking about? All right,
Nope.
friends, let's continue to do some trash research and come back on September 18th and see where, like, this is kind of the month to gather all the information. So again, if we can get more people, I want to hit 500 to get people to take this survey. Don't want people to take it multiple times, but different people from the same household can take it because they might have different views.
Yep.
So that's okay, but I'd prefer if we don't have one person taking it multiple times because I will scan eventually for repeated emails. So let's get that out. If everyone can get to the transfer station to do a shift, and then let's see if we can't figure out how to either take a group trip, get somebody in from other places. Martha, if you're going to be down near there, you know, check in. And I would just pulled up Grantham's website, Mount Trashmore, is what they call their landfill.
Where it is.
And you know, so let's they sound like a great place to kind of dive in and especially if they just did a committee, I'd like to see kind of what their committee research looks like. But I think those are all great things we can keep working on so we can start to put together what we find through the month of October to be presenting somewhere in November. So, okay.
Right.
Sweet. Thank you all very much. Can I have a motion to end this meeting?
Make a motion.
Somebody want to second that?
Second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All right. This meeting
Thank
is
you.
adjourned at like 5 o'clock. Thank you so much. Thanks for the
Have a
change
good
of
night.
Thursdays. Take care, y'all.
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
I thought, Rob out. Very long.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's when I asked you if you had something, I said you had some stuff, some good stuff to share, so.
Just bagged.
So that's when I asked you if you had anything to bring.
No,